You've likely set up different email sequences for your sales ready leads versus the ones that need further nurturing. But how does a new lead get into the right sequence? In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a fully automated system that uses AI to instantly analyze and qualify every single lead. And it will do it the second they fill out your form or book your meeting. It will automatically drop them into the perfect sales sequence or nurture sequence that you want inside of your favorite CRM or any way that you want to send emails. This is the exact kind of high level automation that top agencies and SaaS companies use to scale. So let's build it. So switching to our N8N workflow, this is the workflow that we'll be building. It's quite simple. So it starts with a webhook trigger, which is basically on form submission. So when a new lead submitted your form, it will take the submission, all of the answers, and feed it into an OpenAI model. We'll go over the system and the user prompts so that the output is something that we desire and not random. Once we score that lead through this OpenAI sequence, we go over to making a new contact in our CRM. In this case, I'm going to be using HubSpot. Although I already have an account, I'll show you how to make a new contact in HubSpot. And then when a new contact is made here, you can see upsert contact. This is how we create a contact in our CRM. And then we move on to an if block, which has two branches. One is for true and one is for false. So we'll go over all of this soon, but let's first look at how the form submission works. So if you go over to tally.so is a nice form builder. It's one of the form builders that you can use. Others are like Jotform, Typeform, and so on. I'm using Tally for this example. As you can see, I already have a form built up. It's called Book a Call, and these are the fields that we have set up. What's your full name? It's a text answer. What's your email? It's an email answer. What's your MRR? It's a number. Few drop downs for how large is your team, and this is like a long text answer that the lead will be supposed to answer if they want to book a meeting or whatever. So what's the single biggest challenge right now? This question, or a few questions like these can be there in your form when you're making sure that your lead ends up in your sales pipeline. So for now, we are going ahead with this form, and when a lead submits this form, as you can see, these are all required fields, so they have to submit it. They can't just leave it blank and submit it. So including this one. So when a lead does submit the form, you'll see your submissions here. Submissions. As you can see, I've already tested it once, and there's one submission here, but we want this submission in our webhook trigger. So webhook trigger is basically whenever a form submission occurs in Tally, our form builder, it will fire off an endpoint, an API endpoint that will be received here in this webhook trigger. So this is a node in N8N that basically pulls events from any form builder or anything else, any calendar booking that you want. So for here, for example, we have this test URL, which is this URL that I've set up. This URL is basically just for testing purposes, not for actual usage. So what we do here is when we make our form, so you made your form here and then you publish it. Mine's already published, as you can see it. So if you go back, you go into integrations tab and you go into webhook. This is how our N8N workflow will know that a lead has submitted a form. You paste your endpoint URL here, so the URL that you picked up from here, you just click it, it copies it, and you paste it here, and we save the changes. Nothing else needs to be done for this simple example, but we can obviously customize it with HTTP headers and signing secrets just for more security. And so once we have the webhook set up, we simply want to set up this node nicely. So post is our HTTP method. So form submission is a post method. The path is a webhook. There's no authentication, so anybody can submit the form and we can read it without without authorizing ourselves to read that. We should probably change that once you're running in production, but for now let's move ahead with this. So once you test this, you can see that for a submission we will have these many fields taken. So let me submit this form once again. All right, so let me copy the form link, go to a new tab, and just submit it for real this time in front of you. So let me just put my email. Let's put 30K. Let's put 11 to 50, and let's just put something here. My biggest challenge is about hiring better people to manage my leads, write my emails, and close them on the call. Something random, but it works for now. We submit the form. So we come back, we listen for the test event. So we're listening now. Okay, we're listening now, so we should probably submit it again. Whoops. Let's submit it again. My biggest challenge is around hiring people to manage my leads and sales pipeline to scale properly. Submit, and you can see that the node was executed successfully here. We were listening for a test event, and this is the output column. So N8N makes it easy for us to look at both the input and the output side by side. So left is the input, right is the output. So in this JSON, so this is our form. Form name is book a call. This is our name, email, monthly recurring. This is a multiple choice question. How large is your team? I selected 11 to 50. So you can see that this is the ID that we got. This is the ID of the 11 to 50 choice, and this is what we have in the value column, value field of this JSON array. And then the last question was the biggest challenge, and what I entered is right here. So what we want to do now is pin it so that we have this value of this form accessible in the next step. So what we want to do next is analyze this form submission by an AI model. So we'll be using OpenAI for this. An AI model makes it easy to make sure that this entire step of qualifying a lead, or basically scoring a lead, as you'll see in like a minute, is automated. So how do you get this node? You go into OpenAI, and you do message a model. You can select this, and it will make sure that you have this node here, right here, and you join it with this so that the answer from the webhook trigger is accessible in this node. So you open this now. So as you can see, the value that we pinned is now accessible here. So you can see this 11 to 50 employees. This is what we selected. This is what we entered in the form. My biggest challenge is around managing my leads and sales pipeline to scale properly. This is what we entered in the biggest challenge question. So whatever fields that you have in your form, every lead will fill it and it will end up here in this pipeline. So what we want to do now is make sure that the OpenAI model that we want can access these questions and answers, and then use its intelligence to score it and make sure that that score ends up somewhere that fires off an appropriate email sequence for that lead. So for this example, let's consider that we are scoring a lead on a scale of 1 to 10, and a lead that has a score of less than 5 will get a different email sequence than a lead that has a score of higher than 5. So let's first score the lead then. So in this node, what we want to do is first have a credential. So you need to have an OpenAI account, have an API key, and then you'll be able to sign in with that OpenAI account, paste your API key. So let me show you. So what you want to do is have an API key to paste here, and that's it. You click save and you'll have your credential. In another video, I can show you how to set up OpenAI API keys if that's helpful. But for this one, I'm assuming that you have your credentials set up. This is your resource. So we want the text because we are texting the model for now. We are not using image or audio or anything else. Operation is messaging a model. Let's use GPT-5 Nano. It's good enough for this case, use case. So now you want to do two things. One is two kinds of prompts. One is a system prompt and one is a user prompt. So a system prompt is what you want the system to behave like. It's basically assigning the system a role to play in the next step when you actually ask it a question or give it a task. So a system prompt is basically you select the role as the system. So there are 3 kinds of role now. Previously there were only 2, user and system. Now there's an assistant as well. So OpenAI is upgrading it. But right now you want the system. So basically used to set the model's behavior or context for the next user message. This is exactly what we want to do first. So we say that we are an expert B2B lead qualification assistant for an agency that helps SaaS and B2B companies scale with paid ads and automation. A perfect client is an established business with a coherent challenge. Growth related to marketing and sales has a monthly MRR of 20,000. Your job is to analyze the leads information and score them. Respond only in a JSON format. JSON format is basically what you see right here. This is the JSON format. It makes it easy to capture information from API calls and webhooks properly in between nodes. So we have the system prompt here. It will score the lead from a range of 1 to 10. That's it. Now we want a user prompt. So a user prompt is basically sending a message to the user to get a response. So this is what you do when you actually write in chatgpt.com and you give it a task, it performs a task, gives you back the output. But here we are doing one other thing, which is setting the system prompt. This is basically because we are not using the ChatGPT interface. We are basically using the API from OpenAI, and API needs to have the system prompt. Otherwise, it will just use its own intelligence and behave undesirably. We only want to score it based on 1 to 10 and use these parameters to score every new lead that we get. So we do not want any other behavior. So setting a system prompt is very necessary here. So next is a user prompt. This is a little bit tricky for beginners. If you're new, it might take a little bit to understand it, but I'll try to make it easy. So what you want to do is please analyze following lead. We just want it to analyze the result that we have on this left hand side. So what you want to do is make the model analyze the name, MRR, and biggest challenge properly. We did say in the system prompt that established business ideal client is an established business with a coherent challenge and which related to growth and marketing and has an MRR above 20,000. Remember that I have written my biggest challenge as something like that, and MRR is 30,000, so it should score it properly. Let's see. So this green stuff that you see here, it's pretty easy to set up, so I'll show you. I've erased it for now. Let's go to our left hand side. This is our input column. Let's go to our name field. So these are our form fields, data form fields. Form name, book a call, created at this time. This is UTC time. This is not my time. UTC time meaning yeah. So fields, what's your full name? This is the type and this is the value. So what you want to do is drag this one and do it right here. So this makes sure that you have your name right here. What you want to do for the other two fields is take the monthly recurring revenue, take this value, put it here, just drag it here, and then your biggest challenge, this value, drag it right here. So that whenever a lead submits a form, every answer that we want corresponds to these specific fields. We do not want to mix this, otherwise AI would get confused. So, and you can also see the result. So you get a preview of what it will look like. So you see my name, MRR, and biggest challenge is properly displayed. So we know that our prompt is okay. We can click out of it and it will disappear. So that's just a helpful preview that N8N gives you so that you know that you are doing it right. So this is the user prompt. I just use simplify output all the time because it makes it easier to understand it on the right hand side, but you can disable it anyway. And outputting content as JSON is necessary because you want to use this in the next step. So do this, please switch it on. And that's it. So you want to test this input, see what the AI gives you. So let's execute. Yes. Let's see what the AI scores our new lead. So you see the message is role is assistant. Score is 9. Why? Because it meets the 20K MRR threshold and has a clear growth-oriented sales pipeline challenge, hiring for lead and pipeline management that aligns with our automation and paid ads services. So basically, your job is to analyze the leads. This is what we provided in the system prompt. And our AI has scored this lead as a 9 out of 10. And it has also given us a reason as to why it did that. So what we could do now is take the AI's output and feed it into a different table in your CRM or an Airtable or anything that you can analyze and see that why the AI output this reason and this score for this particular lead. You could manually see it. For now, we're just gonna make sure that this score actually ends up in our CRM and can fire off different email sequences based on the threshold that we set. So what we want to do now is make a HubSpot node. HubSpot is used, it's a massively popular CRM tool. So it's basically used by every big SaaS company and agency. It's very useful because it has all kinds of stuff and it's quite cheap. So you select a HubSpot node and you select create and update a contact, this one. So what you want to do now is you have your, so in the input column now you have your score and reason right here. This is the score that we want to our node to take as input and create in our, so this is our HubSpot CRM. If you go to the contacts list, We already have a contact. Let's delete it. We do not want it for now. Okay, so this is our contacts list. It's empty for now for this particular use case. Let's input this and make a new contact for the new lead that we got from the form submission. So what you want to do now is, select our credential. The same thing will be used here. I can make a new video on how to set up credentials, but for now, let's make sure that, let's just assume that you have your credentials set up. So you want to select the resource as the contact because we will be making a new contact. Operation is create or update. And what you want to do next is take this email. So we also have access to other our email. You don't see it here. We want the email here. So where do you get it? So we also have access to the other input variables that we receive. So webhook trigger. So we did receive our email in the form, leads email in the form. So this is the email's value. Just drag it here. Let me show you. This is the email. We drag it here, and you can see the preview is correct. So we can just click out of it. And then you want to select contact properties. So first name. For now, let's just make sure that our contact ends up with an email and the first name. That's exactly what you want to do. So first name can be taken from here. So just drag this, select it here. Oops. Duplicate, drag it here. Preview is correct. That's it. And then that's it. So what you want to do now is just execute it, and we'll make sure that our contact ends up in our CRM. So let's execute it. Execute it successfully. Let's go to our contacts, and we see that our lead is here. So a new contact was created, and we have a name and email and created it. This was automatically set up. What you want to do now is basically use the score of the lead that the AI model generated and score it based on score it into two divisions, categories. This is AI lead status. This is what I set up as a custom property of this contact table. It's pretty easy to do. I'll show you. If you go into settings and you go into, where is properties? Properties, and this is AI lead status. You just select create a property, and you just make sure that you end up with a name that you can recognize in your column. And this is what I've set up. So AI lead status, it's a group of contact information. That's exactly what you want. And the field type is drop down, and we have two options because we are going to be sending two kinds of email sequences to leads based on their score. So we have qualified and nurturing, and we just click save and exit. And now what we want to make sure is that we have this AI lead status here in this contact list column. So if you do not see this, which you probably won't, you should edit your columns and select your AI lead status from this list. It should be here because we just did it we just added a property. So once you do it, click apply, and it should show up here. So your custom column is now going to show up here, and we want to make sure that our new lead has one of these selected. So what you want to do now is basically close off from this because you've already created a contact. So this step is done. So now what you want to do, so according to your sales sequence, you can decide how many branches to pick up. So for now, I will basically do what we call is a two-part sequence. One is for leads less than 5, and one is for leads scored greater than 5. So what we want to do right now is take the score, let's erase this, this is our if condition. Take this score and place it right here. You can see that the preview is correct. This is our score, and you just execute a step, and you see that the true branch. So we have two branches, right? Because it's a if condition. You have two branches. We see that our lead has ended up in the true branch and the false branch is empty because our lead was scored 9 out of 10, and if it's greater than 5 it's true, and if it's less than 5 it's false. So we have executed this. So we have two branches, true and false. So for true, we gotta go ahead and update this column in our contactless CRM, and for false we gotta update this. So we either update it to qualified or nurturing for greater than 5 and less than 5. So what you want to do now is make another create or update a contact node. So same thing, go here, type HubSpot, select create or update a contact, take it here, drag it here, and then you can see here that we have our if node and its output right here as our input in this step. So we see that our lead is present here, name, modified, has full name or email. So we have everything we need. So what we want to do now is basically select our credential, make sure that it's a create or update operation on a contact, go to the email. So we want to update the contact with this email. So if you just search for email, you should see it. So you have this here. You want the value. So this is the value. Just drag it here. It should show up. And then you want to select a property. So what we did here was, add a new property. So this is called a custom property in HubSpot. Different CRMs have different naming conventions, so you have to be aware of that for this step. For HubSpot, it's just a custom property. So what you do is select a custom property, select our column. This is our AI lead status. This is our column, AI lead status. And we select the value. This is our nurturing value. So we do it. We execute the step, and it worked. So for this one, we actually want qualified because this is, scored greater than 9. So we want to update the node in our CRM with qualified. If you go here, we refresh this, and we see that qualified is now selected. So what this does is filters based on your email, takes that lead, and selects the exact lead status that we want for it. What you can do next from here, so if you go back to Canvas, we can do this for both. So for one, we do, qualified, and for the other one, we can do nurturing. So you just do it, and if we execute this step, nothing will happen because we do not have any, so no fields, node executed, but no items were sent, because we do not have a lead that had scored less than 5, at least for now. So this is what you want. If you save it, this is your complete workflow. You can add more steps here. So basically in this, you can add more steps right here that will go into different parts of your CRM, HubSpot or otherwise, and fire off different email sequences. Or you can use HubSpot's marketing automation, so campaigns. You can just use this to basically check if a lead is qualified, selected as qualified, then it will fire off a different email sequence, and if it's selected as nurturing, it will fire off a different email sequence for them. So this is how you basically score a lead based on what answers they give you when booking a demo, booking a call, showing up to your webinar and so on, any high ticket offer basically, for most B2B use cases. So this works, and this is how your different email sequences can fire off. This was the entire demonstration, and I hope this was useful. Until next time then, I'll probably make a video on showing you how the credentials can be set up properly, but see you next time. Bye.